Welcome back to the Thought series, right here on Nubia Hood Radio, the sound of consciousness. I'm your host, X, and tonight we are going to be talking about the Prophet of Prison series. Now, as most of you probably know, and some of you may not know, there has been a trend of many millions of dollars being made off of the prison industrial complex. And we're going to talk about it tonight. And if you're listening tonight, you are going to find out some things that you did not know, because I definitely did when I was getting prepared to do this show tonight. So hold tight for this one. For all you brothers out there who done did a little time like myself, you're gonna be amazed about how much money, man, gets made and what this is all about and who is in on it and why they are going to continue to guarantee that our black asses remain incarcerated as much as possible. So hold on tonight. You're on the Prophet Thought series on Nubia Hood Radio. It's going to be a good show tonight, y'all. The phone lines are up. The chat room is going to be up as well. Let me give y'all the phone number. It's 712-775-7031. That's 712-775-7031. Access code 840981. Call in, ask questions, comments, complaints, opine, do whatever you want to do. For all my Facebook people out there, don't be shy. Call in. Let us know what you think. We on all night. You're on the Prophet Thought series on Nubia Hood Radio. Let's go. Okay, now, as usual, we always start off with the old stop complaining segment. I know we often talk about racism, here at the Prophet Thought series. We talk about prejudice, and the policies of this country. But us as black people, we have a tendency to forget that there's black people in other places besides Africa, y'all. In front of me, I have a paper, and it's about racism against black people in Europe. Now, in Russia, okay, they say that dark-skinned people, especially black people of African origin, face a growing trend in race-based violence. According to some recent AP News reports, Africans and Russians, well, y'all probably didn't even know Africans were in Russia, did you? Well, Africans in Russian cities are often afraid to go out in public for fear of being attacked or killed. The situation began to go bad for non-whites in the post-Soviet Russia in the 1990s. Last year, several African students were attacked on the streets of St. Petersburg, which is the capital of Russia, by the way, y'all. In St. Petersburg, by people described as a group of youths. On the same night, in the same street, on two separate occasions, two students were attacked. One was killed and the other escaped with serious injuries. It has come to a point where survival for non-white people in Russia means that they must learn how to behave themselves in order not to become casualties of the raging wave of racism in the nation's cities. For Africans in Russian cities, this has come to mean knowing where they can go and when it is safe to go there. A young man named Gabriel Kochakva, who came to Russia 25 years ago as a student, okay, from West Africa, is an academic and professor at the Gubkin Oil and Gas Institute. Staying alive in Russia for him means never using public transit and always making sure he is home by 9. His wife is Russian, but they must often appear separately in public in order to avoid verbal abuses that are thrown at them whenever the biracial couple goes out together. Now, Kochopta says, sometimes I even go to the shop with my wife and we go separately so nobody knows that we are together. He says he has never been aggressive because I know where to go, when to go, and how to behave myself. Wow. Now, back in 2006, more than 15 people were killed in racially motivated attacks. A year before that, there were 44 killings, according to the Moscow Bureau of Human Rights. And it's not just in Russia, y'all. It's the same situation in Germany. Okay? They have a news clip here of a 37-year-old Ethiopian engineer. He was beaten into a coma in Germany. They described his injuries from the beating as unusual in their severity. Such attacks are increasingly common in places like Germany and Russia. In the recent weeks, police have made arrests in connection with such brutal attacks on Africans and other dark-skinned people in Berlin. Africans know certain areas in the eastern part of Berlin, such as Marzahn and Hellersdorf, are a no-go area where they are certain to be attacked or killed. They said police statistics show a 19% increase in racist violence by people described as members of the far right. Last year, there were 958 attacks on black people. 776 the year before. Now, I know we often talk about the racism and the bigotry and the prejudice in the United States, but it hasn't gotten so bad that we can't walk in certain places. We can't go out the door. We can't walk down the street. And if you got an old white girlfriend, y'all don't have to go in separate cars and walk in at different times. Even probably in the most redneck, bigoted, racist, Aryan nation parts of this country, you don't have to do that. But black people over there, this is how they live every day. And it's not just poor black people. You heard me just read the dude. He's like an engineer at a university. And he said he must be home by 9 or he might be killed. So, when we talk about bigotry and prejudice, we know it exists here. We know it does. But there are other black people all over the world who are feeling way more racism. And there's way more of them just getting killed, okay, by these bigoted Russian and German crackers. So, I tell you this because they continue to live there. You live here. And yeah, there is some racism here. But whenever you get ready to bitch and moan about it, think about the brothers and sisters in Germany, in Russia. And you know what else you need to do? Stop complaining. Anyway. Now, tonight, we're going to talk about something that's kind of a very good subject for me. Those of you who know me and follow the Prophet of Thought series, y'all know that I myself have done some time, and I'm not ashamed of it. I don't know if y'all hear this now and y'all going to stop listening to me. Y'all be like, oh, X, he been in jail. I'm not listening to him no more. That's fine, too. But I have been locked up before. I have done time before. And, you know, if you think worse of me now, quite frankly, I don't give a damn. But I'm going to tell y'all about this show tonight And trust me, it doesn't just affect the people who get locked up. It affects everybody. It affects me. It affects you. It affects your family. It affects your job. It affects your taxes. It affects your property taxes. It affects school taxes. It affects the economy of your town, your county, your state. Trust me, it does. By the end of this show tonight, you are definitely going to learn some things. Trust me. Now, like I said, it's the Prophet of Prison series. And I want to give y'all a little background about the prison industrial complex. We're going to talk about a few things tonight, but I want to give y'all a background about the prison industrial complex. Now, the prison industrial complex, okay? Now, up until the 70s, okay, the United States had about 110 prison inmates for every 10,000 people, okay? That, in the 1990s, 445 every 100,000 people. Now, it has ballooned, okay, to 1,100 per 100,000 people. The United States right now has 2.3 million people in prison, okay? Now, for me to give you what that looks like, imagine the population of Atlanta, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Des Moines, Iowa, and Miami. All those people locked up. Okay? It is many more people than any other country in the world. Probably 500,000 more than China. And China has about 5 times the amount of people that we have. Think of that. They have 5 times the population of people, but they have nowhere near the amount of prisoners, right? Either people in Chinese are really, really law-abiding, or the United States is really, really screwed up. And we know what the answer to that one is, right? So let me give you some numbers about the prison itself, because I want to give y'all a background. I want to give y'all a background before I go into the details. 70% of the people in prison in the United States, that's 7 out of 10, are illiterate, okay? 200,000 of them that are locked up suffer from some type of serious mental illness. About 80% of them have a history of substance abuse, okay? While the number of drug treatment slots in American prisons has declined by more than half over the past 15 years. 80% of the prisoners in California are black. That's 8 out of 10. Last year alone, 140,000 people went to prison. 140,000. Almost 2/3 of the people sent to prison last year were parole violators. Okay? These aren't people who have committed crimes. These are people who went to jail, came out of jail, and got violated over something, whether it was their curfew, or they got caught with a beer, or they didn't report, or, they didn't commit no crime. They didn't rob, steal, nothing. They just didn't, do what parole told them to do. So they're back in the hoots gal for that. So the prisons are overcrowded, okay? Very much overcrowded. Now, the overcrowding of prisons has become a real problem, because you have, being that the places are so overcrowded, you have all kinds of problems in there. There's a lot of communicable diseases in prisons. And these guys come out of prison and they have these communicable diseases. Because one thing, when you smash a whole bunch of people on top of one another, it's not hard for people to catch viruses like pneumonia and the flu and, all kinds of stuff, tuberculosis and things like that, airborne diseases, Legionnaire's disease. bad ventilation systems and stuff like that. It's not hard for these things to happen. And when these people come home, guess what? They come home with these freaking diseases. And not only that, it causes your taxes to go up. Okay? Your property taxes, your state taxes, all that stuff goes up. Now, when we talk about the prison industrial complex, over the past 30 years, the prison industrial complex has a lot to do with special interests that has given prison construction in the United States an unstoppable momentum, which is ironic, being that since 1991, the rate of violent crime in the United States has fallen by 20%, while the number of people in prison or jail has risen. Does that make any sense? Violent crime has went down, but the prison population has went up. Okay? It has increased because the imprisonment of people who have committed a lot of nonviolent offenses, like drug possession, freaking public drunkenness, weed possession, things of that nature, stealing cars, breaking windows, things of that thing, Instead of community service for a lot of these crimes, which they should be giving people, they've been giving them fines, drug treatment, to a prison term. By far, the most expensive form of punishment is the prison term. Now, politicians, and on both sides, not just Republicans, not just Democrats, they have used the fear of crime to gain votes. And guess where they focus on it? They impoverish rural communities, impoverished cities, where prisons have become the cornerstone of economic development. Private companies have tapped into $35 billion a year that's being spent on prisons. Spending on corrections since 1980s has increased 5 times. Okay, there are more than 1,000 vendors that sell corrections paraphernalia. And when we talk about paraphernalia, we talking about things that the jail use, commissary, things of that nature. It's just crazy, y'all. And the growth is expected to grow 5 to 10% every year. And we got private prisons now. Okay, a lot of y'all probably didn't know that. We have private prisons now, and private prisons keep about 90,000 of the prisoners all over 27 states. They call them bed brokers. And what they do is they rent a cell facility for $20 to $60 a day with $250 to $550 commission per man per day, trucking prisoners hundreds of miles through the country. Threat to public order, escape, and things of that nature. But I'm going to give y'all some facts about the prison industry, and these things are going to make you sick to your stomach, and because I know they did me. Okay? Now, as long as there's been a human society, right, there's always been criminals. Despite the best efforts of lawmakers and religions, humans just can't be trusted to do the right thing. We know that. We got screw-ups in our society. We got people who screw up, and some people, they belong in prison. I'll give them that. But back in the days, prison used to be a last resort, a place you sent people when other forms of punishment were just ineffective. Now it's grown into something even darker and even less rehabilitative. Now, unbeknownst to many people, the prison system has become a money grab, okay? According to a report from inthepublicinterest.org, okay? They did a report called How Lockup Quotas and Low Crime Taxes Guarantee Profits for Private Prison Corporations, okay? Where they actually have lockup quotas, okay? In just as recent as 2013, okay? They talk about how the lockup quotas and the low crime taxes guarantee profit prison corporations, okay, private prisons, are striking deals with states that contain clauses guaranteeing high prison occupancy rates. In other words, they are writing contracts with governments to guarantee to have those beds at least 90% full. Because if they don't, if that particular state doesn't have those beds 90% full, guess what? That state has to pay that private prison company money, something called a low crime tax. Okay, so basically, the government will be penalized a low crime tax if that damn prison ain't 90% full. So what you think the government is going to do? Make sure that damn prison is 90% full at least. Okay? Now, as a result of that, like I said before, there's 2.3 million people in prison right now in the United States. And like I told you before, that's 500,000 more than China. Okay? And the worst part is that once you're captured by the prison industry, not only are inmates forced to work for pennies an hour, providing cheap labor for some of the most profitable enterprises in the world, and you're going to be surprised when I give you the list of people who actually gain shit from prisons. Boy, you're going to be surprised. Some of your most favorite places you like to go, guess what?
Slavery.
They are benefiting off of prison labor. And I know a lot of y'all going to be mad with me at the end of the night, but I don't care. I'm going to tell you the truth anyway, because that's what we do here. Now, this probably comes as no surprise. Some of the most profitable enterprises in the world who gain off of this cheap prison labor, and when I talk about cheap prison labor, do y'all know that most prisoners who work, right? Most prisoners who work, they make about 10 cents an hour. Some of them, if you're making 50 cents an hour, $1 an hour in jail, you're top billing. Okay, you're like Fortune 500 in prison if you're making $1 an hour. That's what I was making when I was locked up. I was making like $1 an hour. You know, I was top billing. But let me just give you a list of some of these people who benefit. Okay, now the military. Okay, U.S. military inmates make 100% of all military helmets. They make ammunition belts, bulletproof vests, ID tags, military pants, military shirts, military tents, military bags, and canteens. Okay? And war supplies such as food, water bottles, dehydrated meal supplements, and that stuff. Anybody who's been in the military know what that is. You know, those dehydrated meal supplements where you pour water into it and it turns into food.
What they use, what the astronauts use.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Prisoners make those. Now, prisoners also supply 98% of the entire market for military equipment services. Okay? They make 93% of the paints that the military use, 93% of the paint brushes that they use, 92% of the stove assemblies that they use, 46% of the body armor that they use, and 36% of the appliances they use. And guess what else prisoners make, y'all? Prisoners make headphones, microphones, speakers, you know, the shit we use in here probably was made by prisoners. They make 20% of the office furniture. They make airplane parts, medical supplies, okay? They are even raising seeing eye dogs for blind people.
Right, yeah. Yeah, they do.
Okay? When you can get that kind of labor for $1 a day, it's hard to see the government's motivation for incarcerating fewer people. You understand where I'm coming from, y'all? So don't believe that nonsense when they get on TV and say, oh, we got to reduce mass incarceration and we got to, have diversion tactics and, methods to keep people out of jail. Bullshit. Why would they do that? Why? There's too much money involved. There's too much at stake. I talk about this all the time. I'm never going to live to see the day when prisons are half full. It's not going to happen. You're never going to look on your TV and it's going to be like breaking news. All prisons are half full. Never. They're bursting at the seams, and they're going to continue to burst at the seams. And when they can't take them bursting at the seams anymore, you know what they're going to do? Build more. That's what's going to happen, y'all. Right. And anybody that tells you anything different is a damn liar. And anybody that thinks any different can call into this station and tell me why it's different. The phone number is 712-775-7031. 840-981 is the access code. If you got facts and figures that refute what I'm saying, please call in. I want to hear them. But anyway, let's get on to this damn list of these people who are benefiting from prison labor. Boeing, the airplane company. Okay? And ladies, you like to wear Victoria's Secret? Guess what? Prisoners make that stuff. You like to eat at McDonald's? Guess what? Prisoners package that stuff. How about Starbucks? Like going there? I'm sure you do. Prisoners make that stuff too. They package their coffee, make their cups. Yeah, that happens, y'all. That happens. Used to see the looks on the people in the booth in here, boy, shocked. But they looking at you. You want to see it? There it is. And you think I'm making it up? Yes, y'all. And let me tell you something else. There are two major companies, okay? Two major companies that run a lot of these private prisons in the United States and abroad. It's a company called Corrections Corporation of America, and there's another company called the GEO Group. They made $3.3 billion in 2012 off of private prisons. That's a lot of money. So why in the hell would they be motivated to shut them down? I know if I got a company and it makes $3.3 billion and you come to me and say, well, X, the honorable thing to do would be to shut this down, I would tell you to take a long walk off of a short cliff if I'm making $3.3 billion a year. And that is what they're going to tell society. Take a long walk off of a short cliff because I make $3 billion a year. So I say again, don't listen to these people, y'all, talking this nonsense. I know it's a political season and everybody wants you to get out there and vote, and they're going to talk about how they're going to fix laws and stop black folks from being locked up, and that's BS. $3.3 billion is at stake. You actually think them white people think that we're worth that? Come on. It's not going to happen, y'all. It's not. It's not. But anyway, now, this is really going to knock y'all for a loop here. Back in 2010, which was only 6 years ago, the average cost to keep someone in jail was $28,323. So here we are in 2016. Okay. Now, this is just since 2012. It's probably more than that now. The cost to keep a prison, we talking New York. Let's talk about New York, because you know New York is really high. The cost to keep a prisoner per year in New York is $168,000 per year. And that's per inmate, not for the jail. Per inmate.
Right.
$168,000.
But how? Our country is broke. That's what they always crying about.
Do you know how much it costs to go to Harvard per year? $40,000. Mm-hmm. 1 year. 1 year to keep an inmate in New York will pay for 4 years of a Harvard education. 4 years of Harvard would be $160,000. It costs $168,000 per year to keep an inmate in New York. And these private prisons, they are raking it in on us, y'all. They're raking it in. Whenever one of those doors close behind you, somebody's getting paid. And they're getting paid a lot. Okay? Because if those beds don't get full, the government has to pay them money. If those beds fall under 90% full, government gotta give them money. And the government don't want to give them shit. So of course they're gonna make sure they goddamn full. And who you think they filling them with? They damn sure ain't filling them with white people. Just that. They filling them with the people that they give the least about. Us. Now, let's do some history on jails, shall we? Now, we all know that jails were basically built for black people. Okay? Anyone who says different is a damn fool. Prisons and jails were designed for black people. Okay? Now, rooted in slavery, of course, the United States has surpassed its own world record for incarcerating the highest percentage of its population. Okay? Now, according to the Bureau of Prison Statistics, okay, 1 out of every 32 adults is in prison. 1 out of every 32.
How many of them is innocent?
Okay? They're either in prison, in jail, on probation, on parole, something. 1 out of every 32 people. That's a lot. Okay? Also, black people between the ages of 20 and 39 account for 1/3 of all sentenced prisoners. Okay? The explosion of the prison population in the United States has paralleled the stagnation in the global economy. Now, back in the 70s, the United States and the other G7 nations began implementing new policies, moving production from the north to the global south, pushing entire sectors of workers in the United States out of the economy. We all know that. As the economic role of the working class in the United States shifted from manufacturing to staffing a rising service industry, black workers face staggering rates of unemployment. The mid-1970s is also the first period when the incarceration rate in the United States began to rise, doubling, okay, in 10 years, then doubling again 10 years after that, doubling again 10 years after that, okay? And it may surprise y'all that as the number of people without jobs increase, the number of people working actually increase. Does that make any damn sense? But guess what? They become prison laborers. Okay? Prison laborers. Because everybody in jail got a damn job in there. Okay? Everybody in there has a job. If you in there, you got a job. Okay? In California, they have over 70 factories in California's 33 prisons alone. A factory, full functioning factories that manufacture stuff. Okay? And that's just in California. Okay? They do textile work. They make construction materials. They manufacture stuff for janitors, cleaning supplies, all of that. A full functioning factory. It ain't even a damn factory in the city that I live in. But it's a damn factory inside of a prison where they paying them a dime an hour? Crazy. They make shoes in there, clothes, detergent, dish detergent, dental supplies, dental lab work. They recycle plastic, metal, wood, paper. They make metal. They make wood products. They operate a dairy. They got a farm, a slaughterhouse with pigs and hogs, cows, chickens. Now, this is a prison. If you just tuned in, you probably think I'm talking about somewhere down here, don't you? But I'm not. I'm talking about inside of a prison, y'all. All that's going on. And you know what people are getting paid to do it? Like 25 cents an hour. $1 a damn day.
But I'm going to say this. There are people in there that belong in there, that should be making tires and making, it is a lot of people in there that do belong in there.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't feel bad for those people.
Absolutely.
I just want to say that. Drug dealers are excluded, though. I don't feel bad. I mean, I'm just saying, drug dealers, the only reason why they're drug dealers is because they was trying to make a way and they needed money in their pocket and they couldn't find a job. 9 times out of 10, that's what happened. And I have no problems with the drug dealers. I mean, even though it is a trickle effect, because with drugs come murder and everything else after that, but who could you really blame it on? It don't come from our community. They bring it in. The government brings it in. So you got to look at them too.
Oh, absolutely. Now, don't get me wrong, y'all. If you are in the violation, if you break a law, there should be some consequences for that law. Now, the consequences can be subjective to whatever person may think those consequences should be. My problem is when prisons have become a cottage industry, profitable. It used to be a time where prisons were just punitive. They're not just punitive anymore. They're profitable. So that means there is an extra incentive. Forget the fact that they want us in there, for whatever. But now this financial incentive has made it even greater, especially when you have governments that are under contract with private prison companies, and these private prison companies are putting clauses in these contracts that guarantee that those prisons remain 90% full, or they receive something called a low crime tax. The government is going to make sure them goddamn prisons are full so they don't have to pay these people this money. Mm-hmm. They're going to make sure of that. That's why they criminalize everything. That's why you can have a piece of crack in your pocket that you can barely see and get 10 years.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Because they need you in there. They need that quota. They need it. And the crazy thing is that this prison thing, this prison for profit thing is not something that just came about recently. Because like I said before, prisons and jails were designed for black people. Because back in the 1700s and 1800s, white people didn't go to jail unless they killed somebody. Black man went to jail for spitting on the street. Black man went to jail for throwing a cigarette butt on the ground.
For talking back to
yes,
a white person.
Saying something wrong to the white man gets you 10 years. Mm-hmm. So prisons and jails were designed for black people. But we're going to go farther than that. What a lot of people don't know about the United States, because the United States, man, is a rough place. But I'm telling you, the United States has an awful history. Now, they used to have something called black codes and convict leasing. Now, and I'm going to tell y'all what that is. When slavery was abolished, right? When slavery was abolished, a new set of laws called black codes emerged, okay? It emerged to criminalize illegal activity for black people. Though the enforcement of these laws, acts such as standing in one area of town, okay, was illegal. Walking at night was illegal. These eventually became what we know today as loitering or breaking curfew. Now, back in those days, people were thrown in prison for walking at night or standing somewhere too long. And as a result, these so-called black codes, the black people in prison grew exponentially, surpassing the whites, of course. They developed something called convict leasing. And what it was something developed to allow white slave plantation owners in the South to literally purchase prisoners to live on their property. and work under their control. Through this system, bidders paid an average of $25,000 a year to the government. I'll say again, to the government, in exchange for control over the lives of all the prisoners who they had leased. This system provided revenue for the state and profits for the plantation owners. In 1878, Georgia leased out 1,239 prisoners, and all but 115 were black. Because, see, the leasing thing was for black people. If you're white, you didn't have to be part of the, prisoner for lease sect, You were black, you was definitely getting leased out. Now, much like slavery, from which this system emerged, convict leasing was a violent and abusive system. The death rate of prisoners leased to railroad companies between 1877 and 1879 was 16% in Mississippi, 25% in Arkansas, 45% in South Carolina. The stories of violence and torture eventually led to massive reform and abolition movements involving alliances between prisoner organizations, labor unions, and community groups. By the 1930s, every state had abolished convict leasing. So basically, what was happening, y'all, is that these people were free, okay? They were freed slaves, but they were locked up for throwing a piece of paper on the ground. Okay, and while they were locked up, the government literally sold them back to the same people that they were so-called freed from for money. So you know what happened, okay? Now imagine people are slaves, right? Now, this may throw y'all for a loop too. Hopefully don't go over your head, but I'm going to try to explain it to you anyway. If people are slaves, and they're owned by a slave owner, there's sort of a paternal type of thing going on between them and that slave, right? Now, even though they probably treat it like animals, they still get fed, they still get housed, they still get a bed, they still get all that, and of course they get their asses whipped too if they act up. Okay, it's like a father and child thing. But if that person's free and they get locked up in a prison, and they are sold back to this same slave owner, guess what? They don't treat them like there's no paternal father-child relationship now. I literally own you now. I bought you. I can kill you. That's why they stopped it, because they were killing them. More people died during the convict leasing black code era than slavery itself. Because once they were sold back to these damn slave owners, they treated them way worse than they treated them when they were slaves. Way worse. And let me tell you something. This damn government signed off on it. Because I say again, they were buying them from the government. Wasn't like they were just picking them up off the street. The government was selling our black asses to these people. Yeah.
It never was against the law to kill a black person.
Hell no.
Never.
See, this is what people don't understand, okay? People say the slaves are free, right? Black people, we were free as slaves. Now, they talk about the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment freed black people, right? But see, slavery is still legal, y'all, and I'm going to tell you why. And you can pull this up. You can go and Google this, do whatever you want to do. The 13th Amendment says this. The 13th Amendment says, no man shall be held in involuntary servitude. Now, that's what freed us, but that's not the end of it. No man can be held in involuntary servitude unless as for punishment for crime. Why do you think that when you're locked up or in prison, they can make your black ass work in there for a penny an hour, for a nickel an hour? Because it's in the Constitution. They can make you work for nothing if you're locked up. It's constitutional, y'all. Didn't know that, did you? It's there. It is there. It's only illegal to keep you in involuntary servitude if you're free. If you're incarcerated, you have no legal protections to keep your ass from working for $1 a day or for $0 a day. And that, my people, is a fact. Making me sweat in here. But that's why I say, one thing we got to understand. The prison industry in the United States is slavery, y'all. It's slavery, okay? It's this new era of exploitation, man, inhuman exploitation in this country. Mostly black, of course, mostly Hispanic in there, okay? And like I said, they are making millions and millions and millions of dollars, not just off of you being there, but for everything else. Prison is an economy, okay? I've talked about this many times. Prison is a damn economy. Whenever something's getting bought, whenever something's getting sold, y'all, it is an economy. And let's not talk about all the products that I ran down earlier, okay, with everybody from the military, McDonald's, Starbucks, Boeing, and everybody else that benefit off of prison work. The prison itself makes money because, see, inside the prison they sell things, okay? They sell food, they sell cigarettes, they sell clothes, they sell underwear, they sell shoes, they sell whatever. Inside of a prison, okay, you will see Hershey trucks, you will see Coca-Cola trucks, you will see Frito-Lay trucks, you will see Wise trucks, you will see Haagen-Dazs trucks, you will see Mars and M&M trucks. Trust me. And when I say trucks, I don't mean an F-150, okay? I don't mean an F-150. I'm talking double-decker tractor trailers, full to the top with this stuff. And guess what? They're selling it. They're not giving it. They're selling it. And you will see truck after truck after truck after truck pull in and out of there. Non-stop. I know. I was in them. I saw them with my own eyes. They sell everything in there. And I'm going to tell you something else. We got to go to a little commercial break. When I come back, I'm going to really blow y'all minds when I come back. Like I said, the phone numbers is up. The phone lines is up. The chat room is up. Let me give y'all the phone number. It's 712-775-7031. That's 712-775-7031. Access code 840-981 if you wish to opine. You listen to the Prophet of Thought series on Nubia Hood Radio. We'll be back in a few, y'all.
In this country, we are so ignorant still in 2016 to believe that skin color is an indication of intelligence or worth as a human being and an indication of whether or not you are an honest human being. And we are teaching that in the schools in this country. Everybody who hasn't read the book, The Racial Conditioning of Our Children, by Nathan Lutstein, and the subtitle to that book is Ending Psychological Genocide in Our Schools. We teach people, and we've taught teachers, and we teach teachers in teachers' colleges to teach the superiority of the white race, and that there are 4 races. There's only one race. We're all members of the same race, and only when people of the white color group start seeing all the members of all those other color groups as fully, equally human, are we going to change this situation.
Welcome back, to the Proper Thought series right here on Nubia Hood Radio, the sound of consciousness. Before we went to break, y'all, I was talking about how the prison industry is an economy. And when I talk about economy, I was telling y'all about the money that's made inside of there. Now, let me just put this in perspective for y'all, right? Now, every person that's locked up in a prison, right? They have something called commissary. And a lot of prisoners in there, they work, they have jobs. Because make no mistake, inside the prison, the prisoners run the prison. They do everything. They do the landscaping. They do the electrical work. They do everything. They do the cleaning. They do the floors. They do the building and maintenance. They do everything. They run the cafeteria. They do all of that. Okay? There's very few private people working in there. Inside a prison, you have corrections officers and inmates. And inmates run practically everything. They are the teachers. They are the cleaners. They are the truck drivers. They are the factory workers. Let us be clear. That's a fact. Now, every prisoner in there has some kind of job that he does. So he gets his little $1 a day or 25 cents an hour or whatever it is he gets, right? Now, at the end of that week or into 2 weeks, he has X amount of money that he's made. Now, that money is commissary. And not only do prisoners have commissary, most people that's in prison, they get money sent from their family, from their mom, their father, their sister, their brother, their husband, their wife, their whatever. So when they go to spend their commissary money, where do you think that money goes? It goes back to the prison. Right. And we're not talking about just the money that they make in there, outside money. Because like I said, they get money sent to them from people. And they get lots of money, okay? They get lots of money sent to them. And they spend that money inside the jail, where they buy food, where they buy clothing, where they buy cigarettes, where they buy stationery, where they buy whatever it is they buy. Whatever you can buy out in the street, trust me, you can buy it in the prison, okay? Commissaries in prisons are just like supermarkets, okay? They just like supermarkets. I know where I was locked up at. It was just like a supermarket. You walk in there, and it's probably half the size, not a big supermarket, but it's probably half the size of something like Bilo, okay? Where you literally walk in there, and there's stacks and stacks and stacks of canned food, stacks and stacks and stacks of chicken, fruit, milk, juice, soda, whatever, bread, potato chips, cigarettes, all that's in there, right? Now, this is the kicker about the food, okay? You walk into a grocery store, right, and you look at a product, whatever that food product may be, whether it be cakes, whether it be bread, whether it be cereal, pancake mix, whatever. And when you look on it, it has something called a sell-by date, right? Remember when your mom used to send you to the store and she'd be like, check the date on the milk? So it's a sell-by date, because after that date, stores aren't supposed to sell it anymore. It's literally garbage. They're supposed to throw it out, right? Now, inside of a prison, that don't happen. You buy a loaf of bread, a box of cookies, a box of cake, or whatever you buy. Mm-hmm. You look at that sell-by date, it'll be a month past, 2 months past. Now, mind you, these supermarkets, they would have to throw that stuff away, meaning that it's worthless, meaning that it's zero. But they take that same stuff that's zero, worth $0 inside of a store, and sell it to a prison. And then the prison sells it to you. Think about that. Think about how that works. You got something that's literally garbage that should be in a landfill somewhere being sold to someone. That's like me going outside and getting a handful of leaves from the side of the building and selling it to y'all for $20. Literally, that's what that is like, y'all. And they're making millions of dollars off of it. Millions of dollars off of it. They are. And not only are they making millions of dollars off of it, they are also continuing part of an economy, because like I told y'all, prisons are an economy. Like I said, companies like Hershey, Milky Way, Wise, McDonald's, Starbucks, that's part of their bottom line. The amount of stuff that they sell to prisons. And it's their worthless stuff. It's not like you get in there and it has like a current sell-by date. I mean, this stuff is a month old, 2 months old, and they're literally selling it to people. That's part of their bottom line. That's another reason why prisons aren't going anywhere. Prisons are part of this economy. You have any idea? Imagine if there's 2,000 prisoners inside of a prison, right? And say each one of those prisoners spends $1 a week, just $1. That's $2,000 a week that prison makes. Okay? Now, you know they spend way more than that and they have more money than that. But what I'm saying is this. If you were to take some of that money, if you were to take half of the money that prisons make out of the economy would be hurt. Because I just told y'all before that the private prisons made $3.3 billion last year. That's billion with a B, y'all. You take half that money away, that's like $1.6 billion gone. You talking real money. Okay? Real money. So, when politicians sit down at a table with these people who lobby, grease their palms, send them on trips, let them use the chateau in Bermuda. Okay, and when I say lobby, prison companies literally have people who are paid to go to Washington and butter up politicians. So politicians will make laws to keep our black asses in jail. Trust me, this is the way it works, y'all. This is how it works. This is the way it's always worked. And this is the way it's always going to work. All the more reason for us to stay our black asses out of there. Because when you mess around and get yourself in jail for something stupid, bad enough they got all these things that can get you locked up anyway. But if you purposely make it so your ass can get locked up, you ain't doing nothing but being the white man's monkey, man. That's all you're doing. You're being the white man's monkey. Okay? But I do want to hit y'all with some breaking news. Now, y'all may be familiar with this story here. I read this story and it made me laugh. I meant to tell y'all about this in the beginning, but I read it and it made me laugh. It was this lady, right? She was married to a drug kingpin, okay? A dude named Moultrie. I can't remember his first name. I don't have it on my sheet, but his last name was Moultrie, okay? And he was a big-time drug dealer out in Harlem. Right? Now, let me just read y'all this story. Prosecutors are moving to seize, okay? Let me see what it is. $430,000 from this lady named Nicole Moultrie. And the reason why prosecutors are trying to take this $430,000 from Miss Nicole Moultrie is because back in 2004, she bought an apartment for $250, right? Bought the apartment for $250, right? Now, she messed around, got herself locked up with her husband, you know, they big time drug dealers or whatever. So she went to jail, she got out. Now, when she got out, she sold that apartment that she bought for $250. She sold it for $430,000.
Good for her.
Right? That. Let me tell you how much of a profit that is, y'all. Mm-hmm. That's 171,000% of profit. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, you go, Nicole.
Right.
Yeah, she bought the apartment in 2004. part of some city program out there in Harlem, you know, aimed to encourage, you know, home ownership, you know, for black people and low income people. So she was able to buy an apartment for $250. She did 4 years in jail. She did her bid. When she came out, you know, she still had ownership of the apartment, so she sold it for $430,000. And now the prosecutors in her case, they want the money seized as illegal profits from a drug running business, saying in court documents that her husband had turned the building. Oh, they got his name. His name is Lamont Moultrie. They're saying that Mr. Moultrie had turned the building at 101 and West 115th Street into a hub of his drug empire.
Right.
So, being that she sold an apartment for $430,000 when she got out of jail, the government's trying to take her money now. Mother Hubbards. I hope they don't freaking get it. Good for her, goddammit. Call me, girl. I'll help you fight your case, goddammit. I will help you fight your case, Nicole. Yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to let y'all know that the reason why there are so many people in prison is not because there's so many people committing crimes. Of course, we got people committing crimes, y'all. Of course, that we know that. We'd be fools to not know that. But the reason why so many people are in prison and they want so many people to remain in prison is because it's billions and billions of dollars wrapped up in it. Okay? Wrapped up in it.
Jordan got money in that too.
Of course he does.
That's why I don't support him at all.
Of course he does.
We don't wear Jordans in my house.
You would be surprised. Do you know that they actually trade? You got corporations who trade prison stocks on Wall Street now. Okay? Like I said before, prison isn't just punitive anymore. It's profitable. Okay? It's profitable. So, y'all need to understand that, man. Y'all do. Y'all need to understand it. And the crazy thing is that crime is down, y'all. Crime is down across the country. It's down. Okay? According to the Human Rights Organization, these are the factors that increase the profit potential for those who invest in the prison industrial complex. Jailing people convicted of nonviolent crimes and long prison sentences for possession of microscopic quantities of illegal drugs. Like I said, amount of damn crack that you can barely see.
Right.
Okay? Federal law stipulates 5 years imprisonment without the possibility of parole for possession of 5 grams of crack. Okay? 3 ounces of heroin. 10 years for possession of less than 2 ounces of freaking rock cocaine. A sentence of 5 years for cocaine powder. A sentence of 5 years for cocaine powder requires you to have 500 grams, 100 times more than the quantity of crack. Because you know why? Who smokes crack? Black folks. White people, they like cocaine.
Crack is whack, y'all. Crack is whack.
But most of them like powder. And they have to have 500 grams of it to do it in time. You got a piece of crack in your pocket that you can barely see, you're going to the hoot scowl. That's all. That's all it is to that. Okay? See, this brings me to the damn Rockefeller laws. Now, we as black people, we bitched, okay, about these. We bitch about Rockefeller laws today. But the reason why they in effect, y'all, because in the 80s and 90s, we were the ones crying about the damn drugs. It was us pushing for them. Because our asses was powerless to do anything. We had to go run to our white daddy and tell him, oh, white daddy, could you please do something about the drugs? And now we sit on our asses and bitch about the Rockefeller laws that we cried to our white daddy to put into place. I don't understand that. We pushed for those laws. We did. We did, y'all. We did. Okay? Keep that in mind. Told you a lot of times we our worst enemy. It was us who was crying about them damn laws. And now we bitching about them. Now that our uncle been locked up for 30 years.
Right.
Our daddy been locked up for 30 years.
Right.
Our mom been locked up for 30 years. Now we done grew up. Now we done woke up. And now we crying. Damn black people. Y'all better be lucky I like y'all. I would really tend to y'all asses right now. Now, the profits in prisons are so good, okay? They so good that importing inmates has become a big thing too, where they literally go to other prisons and ship them into another prison, preferably a prison that has a factory in it. Literally importing them, okay? You talk about human trafficking. The government's doing human trafficking every day, y'all. They trafficking inmates from one spot to another so they can make them more money. Because you know prisoners make a lot of the government stuff too, like local governments, police uniforms, fire department uniforms, sheriff department uniforms, security guard uniforms. Guess what, y'all? The city garbage man uniforms. Who you think makes that stuff? Prisoners make that stuff. People think that prisoners just make license plates. Man, they make way more than that shit. Everybody listen to me right now probably got something even on their body, in their house, or on their car that was made by a damn inmate. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. You need to think about that. Probably didn't know that, did you? Take a look at that stereo. Take a look at that TV. Take a look at that damn table in your house. That chair in your house. Okay? That rug that you walk on. Those shoes you wear. Think about that. Some damn inmate probably made it. Prison isn't just a place in a far off land, y'all, where people go and that's it. Prison has become a part of this society, a big part of this society. A very big part of this society. And it's going to continue to be a big part of this society. Laws aren't going to change it, okay? Nothing's going to happen to keep these prisons from running the way they're running. If anything, it's going to become more profound, it's going to become more profitable, and more people are going to be in them. And that's the cold, hard truth.
Innocent and uninnocent.
Yep. Innocent and guilty. Believe that. Okay? Now, station management is probably handing me something that I already know, but I'm going to read it anyway. It says here in this little article in the new Jim Crow, it says, if shackling former prisoners with a lifetime of debt and authorizing discrimination against them in employment, housing, education, public benefits is not enough to send a message that they are not wanted and they are not even considered full citizens, then stripping voting rights from those labeled criminals surely gets the point across. 48 states, including the District of Columbia, prohibit inmates from voting while incarcerated for a felony offense. Only 2 states, Maine and Vermont, permit inmates to vote. The vast majority of states continue to withhold the right to vote when prisoners are released on parole. Even after the term of punishment expires, some states deny the right to vote for periods ranging from a number of years to the rest of one's life. This is far from the norm in other countries, like Germany, for instance, which allows and even encourages prisoners to vote. In fact, about half of European countries allow all incarcerated people to vote, while others disqualify only a small number of prisoners from the polls. Prisoners vote either in their correctional facilities or by some version of absentee ballot in their town of previous residence. Almost all of the countries that place some restrictions on voting in prison are in Eastern Europe, part of the former communist bloc. No other country in the world disenfranchises people who are released from prisons in a manner even remotely resembling the United States. In fact, the United Nations Human Rights Committee has charged that the U.S. disenfranchisement policies are highly discriminatory and violate international law. Like that means something to America. In those few European countries that permit limited post-prison disqualification, the sanction is very narrowly tailored, and the number of people disenfranchised is probably in the dozens or hundreds. In the United States, by contrast, voting disqualification upon release from prison is automatic, with no legitimate purpose, and affects millions. Now, you know what that means, right? Your ass get locked up, okay? Now, you're definitely not, in the United States, you're definitely not voting while you're in jail. That's not going to happen.
Not at all.
Now, once you get out, you still ain't. You still ain't. You're still not going to vote. And there's a reason for that, too. Okay? Because, look, we've spoken all night about who gets locked up, right? Black and brown folks. So if they can keep black and brown folks out of the voting game, what does that mean? Those are less people that they have to worry about voting against them, because let's face it, most black and brown people, they're either a Democrat or they sway towards independent. Okay? So if you want to control a voting block, you have to control the constituencies inside of that voting block. And if I got 2.3 million people that I know can't vote, those are 2.3 million people that I don't have to worry about voting against me. So it's a well-tailored plan, y'all. It's a well-tailored plan, from the dollars being spent to keep you there, from the dollars being made because you're there, and the votes not being cast once you're out. And we need to understand that, okay? Not only do we need to understand it, we need to realize that this damn country is built, okay? It's built on disenfranchising the least of us. It's built on disenfranchising the so-called throwaway people. And they are throwing us away on purpose just so they can say we're throwaway people. Do you understand what I just said, y'all? They are throwing us away just to say we are throwaways. And we need to realize that, man. We cannot have this kind of stuff going on and not at least be aware of it. Okay? Why you think people always talk about the school to prison pipeline? Why you think they talk about that? Now, people say it's a myth, okay? But I'm sure y'all have heard that they base the amount of prisons, where they're going to build the prison, and the amount of beds that are going to be in that prison based off of people in the third grade. Now, I don't know how true that is. I've read it many places, so I'm not going to say that it's fact, but I have read it. And think about that. You're talking about third graders. They survey third graders. And that's what dictates where they build the prison, how big the prison's going to be, how many beds are going to be in the prison. They starting early. They got you lined up for prison when your ass is like 7, 8. They already getting you for prison. They're probably already calculating how much money they're going to make off of you while you're in the third grade. They're already calculating how much money they're going to make off of you 11 years from now, 12 years from now, 20. Just get so when I read about this stuff, man. I just want to punch the damn computer today when I was reading this crap.
Well, I am glad you talked about the prison system, because people really do need to know about that. And they definitely, I want to clear up something though. Earlier I said something about drug dealers. I want to clear something up. It's the reason why people go out and sell drugs, because it's survival. That's just the bottom line. It's sad. I'm not saying that is right. But there are people that are in prison for, like you said, little scraps of crack, and they got 10 and 20 years. To me, that makes no sense. And to you, it probably makes no sense. But to the government, it makes a hell of a lot of sense, because they get that free labor. They get them working, and guess what? They get all your rights. All your rights get taken away. Voting, carrying a weapon, you can never do that. You can never, ever do that. They love that, and they always target black communities. But that's where all the drugs and stuff is at. So, more slaves.
Well, I saw on a report today, well, actually I saw it the other day, I read it in depth today, where President Nixon literally waged war against black people. Well, black people and hippies.
Right.
They said.
Right. Because the hippies was love, peace,
literally.
Not war. Yeah, they needed to get rid of them.
Literally.
Yeah.
Where they literally had a meeting and they literally said, we are coming after and criminalizing black folks and hippies. It's almost as if when you think about this stuff, it's almost as if ever since the beginning, when black people start to gain these so-called rights, is when the United States government went on full frontal attack. Not only did they wage war on black people with criminalizing drugs and this and controlled substances, they made sure that the damn controlled substances was there.
Right. Right.
They made sure they were there. Huh? What you say?
Reagan should be in jail.
Get on the mic, man. All right, let y'all know my man Romer's in the house.
Yeah, well, I was just listening. We already know the jail system is pretty much here to stay. It's just another way to keep building up the economy for free, or at the lowest price that they can. But we got to start in that. That's why it always starts in our neighborhoods. So we got to start teaching our young people to keep them out of jail.
Right.
Because I know when I was growing up, I mean, I grew up in Harlem, a bunch of drug dealers. Everything is drugs. But it's sad to say, even though they pumped a lot of drugs in the community, they also did a lot in the community as well. You know, they funded a lot of block parties, a lot of basketball tournaments. I mean, we were just watching a show the other day with these kids in Chicago, and they don't want to work. They why should I work? I'm going to go sell drugs.
Right.
Not knowing that that's going to lead you into jail. So all the, elder people that we did have that's in jail, they're not here to guide those kids no more. Because believe it or not, they had some kind of morals, some kind of, I couldn't hang out on my avenue with the drug dealers. I had to go on the block and play sports or something. It was like, man, you going to school, or we're going to tell your mom. These are the drug dealers telling us that. So now the drug dealers are like, here, come on, we're going to give you these drugs.
Yeah.
So we got to start, figuring out a way where we can grab these kids and give these kids something to do, teach them so they don't have to go to jail. Because we know the jails ain't going nowhere. They here. They here.
Nope.
It's probably one of maybe in the top 10 biggest business in America.
Absolutely.
The drugs ain't going nowhere either. They gonna keep putting them out there. They gonna keep pumping them, and people are gonna keep making it. That's just the bottom line. It's not going anywhere. But us as people, we do have to teach our kids. So this way we won't have to worry about going to see our children upstate or any other state to see them locked up or anywhere else. I mean, I used to be a bus driver, school bus driver, and here for CMS. And it was so many kids that I dealt with who mother and father, maybe the father wasn't there and the mother was working. Then you had some that just stayed home all day. But they had no control over their kids. And I'm talking about black people. It kind of shocked me because I heard kids talk back to their parents like it was no tomorrow. But that's where it starts, though. We have to start getting our kids together and disciplining our kids. We have to. And we have to let them know that, no, it's not okay for you to go out there and sell drugs. And no, it's not okay for you to go and steal from somebody. We have to. But there's not enough people that have common sense like that now. They glorify everything that's not good. And a lot of black people glorify everything that's not good. There's a lot of black people out there that glorify that life. So that's why it's more and more people in prison.
I'll give you a prime example. Mauro, what did your dad do growing up?
My father, he owned a landscaping company. He had his own landscaping business.
He's probably respected, right?
Yeah.
That's not respected anymore.
Nah.
Right.
Since when has it been cool to go to jail? When has it been cool to shoot somebody? Like, all the wrong things, all this leads up into where it's at now. Mm-hmm. So it's like we're promoting jail. I hear dudes talk about, man, I just came home, man, I did 10 years, and that's cool? Mm-hmm. While you was gone those 10 years, you left. Look how many people you left behind that needed you. Kids, you know, mothers, sisters, you know, and then it's like a revolving door. So like we're putting too much emphasis on the wrong things, and those things are going to land us back. I mean, back in the jail, man. So
yeah, we're moving backwards, and not only that, we need to. And this is my thing, cause what affects people the most is their damn pocketbook. Okay, if you want prisons to be discouraged, you have to affect people in their pocketbook. Like these companies that I talked about before, like McDonald's and Burger King and Starbucks. You know what? We should stop going to them. Stop spending our money with them until they stop getting cheap prison labor. Till they stop using prisoners for their companies.
Also, we got to start rehabilitating these, because this jail was supposed to be about punishment and rehabilitation. Mm-hmm. People are not getting rehabilitated in jail. Not only are they not getting rehabilitated in jail, they're coming outside of jail with no help on getting back into the world that they're in.
Oh yeah.
So you know, if this guy he can't get a job because you won't give him a chance to change his life. Mm-hmm. He's like, man, I just came home, man. I ain't trying to go back to jail, but I can't get a job.
Yeah.
So, you know, he's beating down every door, because I know plenty of brothers like that, you know. He's being, and then they get discouraged, you know. And where does that end them? Right back to where they just came from. So it's like the only opportunity they have to come when they come home is to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know, we need more. That's why I said, man, it's a community, man. We need to, especially our youth.
It starts with
especially
home.
Our youth that's been, you know, going to jail 18, 19 years old, coming home 24, 25. No, you know, he probably just did his time in there. He didn't read. He didn't, you know, I know they got, I never had to do no hard time, God bless. So, you know, I know they got schools, you know, and they, you know, they're not taking advantage of the time.
Yeah, well, only in certain ones.
Yeah, because they
a
cut
lot of those
programs
have been cut out.
That's what this is what I'm saying.
The GED programs, the college programs, they cut a lot of that stuff
lot
from
of those,
prison.
If you're not rehabilitating them in there, what do you expect from them when they come out?
Yeah.
Well, that's the whole goal for the government. That's the goal. They want them to come back in so they can get them to work for them for cheap labor. That's the whole goal. They don't want you to come out and prosper. No. The whole goal is, but see, that's why
that's where we cover. That's where the community comes.
Right, right.
Yeah. Well, we gotta have our own economic structure. I mean, a tiny solution to this is, we know that white America ain't gonna give these brothers no opportunity.
Well, we don't need them.
So we gonna have to be the ones to give them opportunity.
Right.
Okay, the white man ain't giving them nothing. So we got to have those resources. We got to have, something established where these brothers come home and we can give them an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like y'all know, I got my little small engine business that I do every summer season. If it's a brother who's willing to work and he can come work with me. If he's willing to work, I mean, I can't hire 10 people, but I can hire one. Mm-hmm. I can hire 2. Yeah. I can't hire 10 people. I'm sorry, y'all. So I don't want y'all writing my damn website talking about exodus. I can only hire maybe 1, 2 people.
Right now.
Okay? I can't hire 10, but I can hire 1 or 10.
Yeah, we need to do that. I mean, we also need to stop pushing our youth away, man, because we're not listening to these young kids, man. They, I was young before, man. I know what it's like to be out there, and luckily I had my parents, and I made some bad choices in life. But luckily I had that grounded structure to say, when it was time for me to stop doing these bad things, I had an outlet to know which direction to go in.
They closed a lot of the boys and girls clubs.
Oh, yeah.
Like, even the Y is not even what it used to be back in the days because,
there's no free programs.
It's no free programs. No, I don't know what's going on, and I don't understand that at all.
Yeah.
They just chopping it away, but like I said, they have their plan. They know what they're doing. The government know what they're doing. They know if they take away things, they take away jobs, they take away programs, school programs, after school programs for the kids, stuff like that. What else is going to be left for them to do? Shit that's not good for them, right? So then where they going to land? They're going to land in that spot where they want them to land so they can sit up there and labor for them and whatever else. But just know, like, when that happens, they take everything from you. You have no right to do nothing. And that's like the worst thing in the world.
Shoot, the rights we have is bare minimum.
Oh, yeah. That's
why we got to try to hold on to it.
It was a brother that had called into this show a while back, and he put me on to something called a community development grant that he said that you can go down to. As a matter of fact, I don't have his number here, but I have his name and number at the crib. Yeah. I'm going to get in contact with that brother because he told me about a community development grant where you could actually get money as long as you can prove that you're going to use it for some degree of community development. Mm-hmm. So we got to, I'll have the information for y'all next week. I don't have it now, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm going to have it for y'all next week. If anybody is interested in that, next week when we come here next week, or better yet, what I'm going to do is I'm either going to put it on the site or I'm going to put it on the Proper Thought Series Facebook page for y'all who follow me, and we're gonna find out what this thing is, and maybe y'all can actually get that in your neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Let me give y'all the number if y'all want to call in and opine. Mm-hmm. It's 712-775-7031. That's 712-775-7031. Access code 840981. Yeah, I can't remember the brother's name. I think his name was either Greg, Craig, something like that. And he had came on the show and he talked about it. He had called in and he talked about this community development grant that he had got for his neighborhood. And they had built like a park or something. They had built like a park and a basketball court and all that kind of stuff. It was really, really good information. I gotta get in contact with the brother. I do. I wish I had his information here for y'all now, so maybe y'all can, get on it in where y'all live at. But I am gonna have it when I come back next week. So, we need to get on that. And like I said, we need to be the ones to give our people some opportunity, y'all, because the white man is not giving our black people nothing when they get out of jail, okay? Only thing they want is to make money off them while they're in there, okay? Have them in there working for 10 cents an hour, okay? Making millions and billions of dollars off of their labor, okay? Making millions and billions of dollars of them being in those beds, okay? They making millions and billions of dollars even when the beds ain't full, because the companies who run the private prisons, guess what? If those beds ain't filled to a certain capacity, the government owes these people money. Mm-hmm. So they making money no matter what. Okay? So we need to make it so they ain't making so much money. Okay? And if they're making money, let them make money off the white people.
Yeah, start locking up some more.
Yeah.
These pedophiles.
Let them start making money off of some of these rapists and goddamn child molesters
and cannibalism.
Yeah. How about they let some of them be in there?
Yeah.
Okay? As opposed to the young brothers selling a little $5 piece of crack.
It's crazy because the pedophiles, the people that go out and do things like that, they go to jail for 2 and 3 years. Like I said, a person with a piece of crack, a little piece of maybe crack, marijuana, whatever they got, cocaine, whatever, they go in jail for 10, 20 years. That makes no sense to me. But yet and still this person who just harmed a child, you know, or even even a grown person, I mean, it's okay. They come home. Okay. Sometimes they walk away with just probation.
You know, and let me tell you something about the rapist. The rapist white guy. He can come out and get a damn job.
Right.
He come out and get a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, he come right out and get a job after he done raped somebody, baby.
And they'll give him a job in Hooters too.
Oh yeah.
In Hooters. After they know he done raped some 20,000 people.
I just seen on the news 2 weeks ago that a teacher down here where we live at, they had found out that he had been removed from another school because, see, he got locked up and for molesting a child at that school, and he was working at another damn school. They didn't even bother to check his background. You know why? Because he was a white man. If he was black and had sold a $2 piece of crack, he would have never gotten that job.
Of course not.
Okay? It could have been a piece of size of crack, the size of a head of a needle.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have got that job. But if you rape a kid, it's okay. Go to work in the school. I mean, this is what we up against, you know?
We also up against ourselves. We need these rappers to stop lying about how much drugs they sold.
You know, every rapper,
every rapper has the same story.
You're absolutely. Every rapper has a story of them selling drugs. Oh yeah, in my life I had to go out. Every rapper says that.
What are you rapping for?
That's every rapper. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Not to get off topic, man. I just want to say this before I go, man. We really watched the show in Chicago, and it really touched my heart. What was that, last night or the night before? And this lady, she was doing something for the youth, the kids, and most of the kids on the list, they weren't. I mean, it was like one person over 19 years old, and it had to be over 50 or 60 deaths up there.
Oh yeah,
and they said they was 480 behind.
We really need to start taking care of each other and stop killing each other.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we really do. Because, I mean, nobody want to come home to their kids not being there, their sisters not being there. You know, it's just a sad thing. So what I'm trying to say is us in the community, I mean, I'm not going to talk about what I do, but I do enough. And I wish I could do more. Mm-hmm. We got to start doing more. We got to start grabbing these kids, start embracing these kids, start hugging these kids, loving these kids, giving them outlets, talking to them. You know, people ask each other, grown people, how their day was. Sometimes ask these kids how their day was. Because it's rough out there, man. It's really not easy. And we need some of our upper echelon people, our Jay-Z's, our Puff Daddies, our Lil Waynes, to get out them offices and them hotels and come out here and put your feet on the concrete, you know, and talk. You don't even got to give these kids money, man. They just talk to them, man. Build a center.
Yeah.
You know,
put your money where your mouth is.
Man. Don't give them Jordans, man. Yeah. Give them education.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Give them some books.
Yeah, man.
Give them some
Pay
books.
for them to go to school.
Exactly.
You know, it's crazy. I'm not gonna blame, you know, just the rappers, but you know, they always on TV and people that
not just them alone.
Yeah, and people that are in these communities, the black communities, they watching all these people on TV and they got they Rolls Royces and they Maybachs and everything else they got going on. But in their community, like we was just like you said, Lil Wayne, we was watching the show, and the schools in New Orleans is still jacked the hell up.
Still from Katrina.
Is not. It takes nothing for you.
11 years later, and it's still
right.
But we forgot about all these things.
That's what I'm saying. That stuff is still. It's still going on. Nobody thinks about that. I mean, it don't take nothing for you to just drop a couple. If you go and you buying all your friends' Bentleys, why can't you just put some of that into the school system in your neighborhood or the children, period? Like, why you can't do that? I mean, to me, I never understood that. You go write it off anyway. You know what I'm saying? It's just a tax write-off anyway. That's what it is to rich people that have money. It's a write-off. So get it written off. That's basically what I'm saying. Put it into your community. You can't, and instead of telling them, okay, it's okay to go out there and sell drugs, and then their schools, they don't have no school, they don't have no programs, they don't have anything to go to. So yeah, they go listen to that rapper. They go be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go sell drugs, and then I'm gonna become a rapper and be like a millionaire. No, that's not how it works. Mm-hmm. That's not how it works.
Yeah, because you stay in the game long enough, it's just a matter of time before you lose it.
Right.
Okay, you can't play the game forever and win it forever.
Right.
You play it long enough, you're gonna lose it. You just are. And we got people in our society who don't want to tell that part of the story. They want to tell a part of the story of the, gold rims on their car and,
like
the mansion that they got and,
their car got a bar inside.
Yeah, no one talks about doing 20 up north.
Right,
No one talks about that.
Or double life sentences.
Yeah, no one discusses that.
And our neighborhoods, man, there's a lot of people just think we only breed one kind of person, man. I mean, in these rough neighborhoods, it ain't just drug dealers, it ain't just killers. You got how many lawyers probably came out of these neighborhoods, doctors, and co-hosts or whatever. Everybody wasn't tough in the neighborhood.
No, they think everybody in the ghetto was hard.
Yeah, right.
Everybody in the ghetto carries a 38.
Right.
Not everybody carries a 38.
They might have grown up hard, but they might know how to survive because that's their surroundings. But people go to work every day, man.
Oh yeah.
So let's glorify. Let's give them a round of applause.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Shout out to the parents who are giving their kids some direction.
Yes.
Some guidance, some counsel, and giving their kids some examples, man, of what to be like. I think that has a lot to do with it too, man. I think a lot of these young brothers, man, who fill the prisons up, man. Because when I was locked up, man, I ran into a lot of brothers, man. These brothers couldn't read. They couldn't write. Okay? You know how many times brothers would come to me and ask me to read their mail?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I would come from my job that I worked, because I worked at the school. I was a substitute teacher at the small engine facility, and I would come back to my cube at the end of the day after working at the school, and it'd be a stack of damn letters, man. I'm talking 10 inches high, and brothers would be standing in front of my cube waiting for me to read their letters to them that their girls wrote them, or their mom wrote them, or one of their friends wrote them, because they couldn't even read.
That's crazy.
Couldn't read. And you know how many I used to write? Because guess what? They can't read, so guess what else they can't do? They can't write. Sometimes I would spend a half a day just writing letters. They be dictating, and I'd be like a stenographer. I'd be doing shorthand, and then I go back and just write it over for them later.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I did that a lot when I was locked up. I mean, and I would have 5, 10 brothers standing by my bed just in line waiting for me to read their damn mail to them.
That's crazy.
Because they couldn't read.
Or write.
And these is choices we have. We have to make the right choices, man.
Yeah, man.
And some of these women start supporting some of these brothers that ain't just millionaires. You just looking for a baller, man. Come up with them. Y'all come up together.
Yeah, well, I mean,
come up together. Y'all could be billionaires together.
Well, that's the thing. If a brother don't know how to read, right? That means he never knew how to read. If he 25, 30 years old and can't read his own name, that means he couldn't read his name when he was 6, when he was 7, when he was 8, when he was 9. So whose fault is that?
Right.
That's the parents' fault. Man.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying.
That's where we start.
Yeah, it's not like he knew how to read up until he was 17 and then he got hit in the head and now he's 25 and he can't read no more. No, he never knew how to read.
You know what's crazy? I don't understand as a parent how you. If me and my wife, if our kids don't do good in school, I feel bad. I feel like we fail somewhere.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, how do you not feel like that?
Because they don't care, you know? And maybe they care, but they care about the wrong things.
Right.
You know? I mean, I say this all the time. You know, you got these parents who you always see them at the club. You always see them at the bar. You always see them at some event. But you never see them at the parent-teacher meeting. And then you ask them, like, yo, why you wasn't at the parent-teacher meeting? Oh, I couldn't get a ride. But you can get a ride to the club every Friday.
Hey.
You get a ride to the bar every Saturday, but you cannot manage to get a ride to the parent-teacher meeting.
You can't use that excuse, though, boy. They got Uber out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Uber.
That's what I'm saying.
You ain't got no more excuses.
I mean, come on, people. I mean, we have to. Of course, we know. I mean, we talked all night about how the white man want us in jail and all that. But God damn it, we got to take some responsibility for it too.
We do.
We got to. Okay?
We have to take full
That's what I was
responsibility
saying.
of everything that's going on now.
Right. When I was a bus driver, I'm telling you, the majority of my black kids, their parents was like super young. And I'm not, because there are some, because I don't want nobody to get offended. There are some young parents out there that really are good parents, okay? And they're still learning, just like I'm still learning as well.
But some of you suck.
Yeah, but some of the, I mean,
Bottom line.
Exactly. That's just the
and that's
bottom
the
line.
bottom line.
Yes, they suck. They do. They do. I watched because like I said, I used to work with kids, so I watched the kids. And it's mainly black. Well, no, I can't even say that because the white kids, they was a little unruly too. They was. But my younger black kids, like, you know, junior high school kids, stuff like that, you could tell that their parents was just like at the club every weekend. You could just tell. You could tell that they had no type of structure in their house, that they pretty much was raising themselves and running the house themselves.
And if they don't respect their parents, they ain't gonna respect them.
Definitely. If they
You know.
don't, and that's a fact. If they don't respect their parent, of course they're not going to respect you. That's just what it is.
Yeah, I mean, we can't just throw our kids out there, and then when this stuff happens to them, sit down and wring our hands and be like, why did he rob this liquor store? Why did he shoot this guy in the head? I mean, these are questions we need to face those questions when our kids are 2 and 3 and 4.
Right.
Okay, we don't need to be trying to answer those questions when they're 15, 16,
That's
17.
right.
We need to be trying to do the things we need to do to prevent that when they're 2, 3, and 4. You know, first of all, we need to take an active role in their education. Okay, we need to take an active role in their development. And when I say development, I'm talking about development as people. I say this all the time. I say we need to learn to teach our kids about finance. We need to teach our kids about learning how to pay bills, learning how to have a mortgage, learning how to pay rent, learning how to make change, learning how to count money, learning how to invest, learning how to save, learning how to be responsible with your life.
Right.
And they don't need to be figuring that out when they're 20. They need to be figuring that out when they're 4 and 5.
That's funny that you said that, teaching the kids about, you know, saving and things like that. I remember when we first got our kids their first bank card, and my son went in the store and he went to go buy him something, and the white lady that was standing behind him, she was like, "Oh, you're so smart. You have your own debit card and this, that, and third." And he was like, "Yeah." He was like, and she was like, "Well, maybe one day you can come and you can work for my company and help me out." He said, "No, my mother and my father own their own business.
There you
I'm
go.
going to work for them."
I'm already a working man.
Right.
I got a job, lady.
Right.
Yeah. And we also, man, we need to stop rallying and protesting. You know, it is injustice for cops to kill us and shoot us down, but we know it's never been a crime for a white man to kill a black man in America. That's never been a crime.
Right.
So, but at the same token, we got to start rallying around when we're killing each other out there and these kids are getting gunned down. You know, let me see some rallies for that. Let's start policing our own people.
Oh yeah.
You know, you can't expect. You know, I can't expect you to come and respect me, and I don't respect myself.
Exactly.
Right. And stop taking from your sisters and your brothers. For real, black people got to stop stealing from each other. A lot of people, you know, it's crazy, especially in Ohio. In Ohio, it's a lot of people that break into people's houses and things of that nature. Y'all don't break into them white people houses and steal from them. And that's not, I mean, it's just a fact. Y'all always stealing from each other. Why you breaking into your brother or your sister's crib? For what reason? You ain't gonna do that to the white people. You're not gonna go over to the other side of town and break it to their damn crib.
Yeah, to the white folks.
Yeah, so don't do it to your own people. That's the whole thing. We always going against each other.
Yeah, the white folks.
And guess what? All these things will keep you out of jail.
Word. It'll keep you out of jail. And guess what? Your community will still be standing. Because what happens when something happens? What happens when a kid gets shot or something like that? What happens? What do black people do? They tear up their own goddamn neighborhood.
Tear up their own neighborhood.
Makes no sense.
They don't go down to the precinct and set that afire.
Right.
They don't go down to City Hall and set that afire. They set afire the bodega that they're in every day.
Yeah, every day.
The one they go to buy stuff every day. They throw a Molotov cocktail.
Right. It makes no damn sense.
That's owned by another brother in the neighborhood.
Yeah, brother that's just trying to do his thing.
When I say brother, I mean Arab brother, Spanish brother. Yeah. I don't just mean black people because we're all together here. So you know, don't tear them.
We need to stop doing that. And what we need to do to black people who do have a little bit of something, you need to give these brothers an opportunity to prove themselves. You do. You know, I know when I came home, somebody gave me an opportunity. Okay, I had only been home for like 2 weeks, and it's crazy because no black person hired me. Some white rednecks hired me when I came home from jail. White rednecks hired me. Not some black person. I got hired by 2 white rednecks.
You what it was funny, man, when I was about I don't know, maybe 12. I'll never forget, I worked in a bookstore, a black-owned bookstore. You know, my grandmother got me this job in this bookstore, right? And I would work maybe, I might have been a little bit older. I might have been a freshman in high school. I can't get the age right, but I worked in this black-owned bookstore, and I would get paid every week. But guess who was paying me?
Oh,
my grandmother. She was giving the lady who owned the store the money, and I was working in. She helped pay me just so I could know what it was like to have a job. And also, it was a black-owned bookstore, so I seen people of my likeliness.
Oh yeah,
you know, owning something. I don't know if she had stock or whatever, but it's just crazy the things we don't have grandparents anymore. Most of the grandparents are like 40 years old.
Yeah, you know, they in the club.
Yeah, my kids, I tell them
getting tattoos and wearing freaking butt choker shorts.
I tell my kids they're lucky. Their grandfather's like 70 years old. Yeah. You know, that's a grandfather.
That's how it's supposed to be.
He's around. He's gonna play and go to sleep. You know.
But this is the 80s and 90s babies, and I'm gonna say this: the 80s.
If your grandmama is 40 and you're old enough to date, oh my goodness, boy! If grandma's 40 and you're dating. Boy, there's no good. Y'all in the same generation.
80s and 90s kids, they still gonna be getting tattoos when we 80.
Well, I just want to talk to y'all about that tonight. Y'all know what's coming up next, right? Because we're about to close it out. At least I thought I knew what was coming up next.
And now it is time for Xavier's Inexcusable Extras.
Well, tonight, y'all, the subject was a smack in the face, I know. Another case of America gaining off the least of these. Like I said earlier, prisons and jails are part of this country's economy, which means they will be here forever. It's a part of America's makeup, part of America's systems of policy, put in place not just to be punitive to lawbreakers, but to also hold on to that last fragment of slavery, the legal slavery that no law can erase. We talked about Nixon's plan to criminalize black people just because. This stuff is not new. In fact, since the end of literal slavery, prisons were always a tool for not just ex-slave owners, but the government to make money off the backs of black folks, leased out to go work for the same people who owned them as slaves. So privatized prisons ran by big corporations should not surprise us. This is why there will never be a plan to reduce prison populations. There's too much money involved. The investors, the prison employees, the people who sell things to the prisons. Then you have the judges, the DAs, court officers, parole officers, and police. All of them have a stake in prisons, or better yet, keeping them in business and keeping them full. So we as a people don't need to co-sign this. We need to be cognizant of this. If we are willing to be behind bars, there are no shortage of bars for us to be behind, or a shortage of people willing to put us there, especially when politicians are being lobbied to over-criminalize everything. And guess what? They are doing it. So black men and black women, we need to focus on staying out of these modern-day barred plantations. If not to have a better life for ourselves and our children, to make sure we don't contribute to the prison population or the prison's profits. Because the bottom line is this: whenever those bars close behind one of us, someone gets paid. In fact, a few someones get paid. And for us to continue to let them enrich themselves at our expense, especially when it can be avoided, is totally inexcusable. Anyway, I want to thank y'all for listening to us tonight. Okay, next week, y'all, I think I'm gonna have Kim Fox up here. If y'all don't know who Kim Fox is, that's the Cook County State Attorney. She just won out there in Chicago. Hopefully she do some good work. I'm probably gonna have her on next week. If not, we'll be talking about something, you know. But like I said, I want to thank y'all for listening to us tonight. You know, I thank y'all for supporting the Proper Thought series. Make sure you hit me up on the Proper Thought series on Facebook. Make sure you hit us up on the Proper Thought series at YouTube. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. Check us out on don'tevenTryIt.com, the Proper Thought series website. And for Lady Self-Made, I am X. I will leave y'all with 3 words. As always, open
your mind.
Your minds. We out.